Staying free. Vegeta!
Hello there.
Hi guys, it's your boy Kakarot, and today I want to talk about if this art form of mature games is dead. Let's get into it. Yeah? As always, guys, before we get into anything, please leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and give me a thumbs up as well. Really helps my small channel grow, and I really much appreciate it. And I can do more retrospective videos and stuff like this in the future. It lets me guys know that you enjoy this, and I can carry on doing it. Thank you. Like I said, today I want to talk about like mature games, or the lack of mature games, shall we say, in the industry. There's always been a staple in the market for this, which has been massively just wide open. Let's look at films, for example. You've always got like your family orientated stuff, which is lots of family orientated games. You've got your sort of adulty stuff, like your Deus Exes and your Mass Effects and stuff like that, but you haven't really got your mature games like you do with your mature movies, where you get into some of the scarier aspects of life, whether it be sex, like I said, nudity, like adult films, gore, murder. There's a there's a lot of things that can be translated onto film which haven't got anywhere close to yet in games. For example, in films, you look at a film, Law Abiding Citizen, that's the one. Like the scene at the beginning of that film is such a powerful, mature theme where his family obviously get killed, his little daughter unfortunately, gets raped. But the onus of that scene is for you, the audience, to instantly resonate with the main character played by Jared Butler at that time. It's there for a purpose, for a reason, to emotionally manipulate you into caring about what this character does, even though you know it's wrong. There's scenes like that that aren't really translated into games, mostly because the media, the general consensus is that games are for fun, games are for kids. Now, you growing up with like I don't know the Sega Mega Drive, the PS1s, the PS2s, even generations before that, a Commodore, whatever. The audience is growing up. Most of the audience that play games now, I believe it, are the average age of 30 in the industry or thereabouts. You've got to look at this now, and I think those trying to take those kind of scenes, putting them into games, is something that happens not a lot. Other reasons are because, like I said, media backlash, the attention that would come from that for games, but also because of the revenue and the money side of it as well. It's hard to make a mature game, sell it for obviously over 18s or over 21s or wherever you are in the world. And there's audience there. There's a mass audience there that's already you can't sell to, with it being teenagers and kids that all play games as well. The biggest example I can think of off the top of my head would be Grand Theft Auto, which is obviously classed as a mature game. But even Grand Theft Auto is doled down for the gore. The storytelling is obviously has a comedic side to it, so it's never a proper crime drama or the the mature side of that. It's very much dulled down for, even though it's an 18 for everybody really. Let's not lie to ourselves. Everybody plays Grand Theft Auto, and it knows that. Like the company Rockstar knows that, even though they would never say that they aim for those kind of audiences with that. It's kind of blatantly obvious with the game. Now, I think back to when the game industry tried to do things like this, like Mass Effect. When the first Mass Effect came out, and the media got wind that you could have sex with an alien, the mature theme of having a relationship or being attached to this character wasn't even mentioned. Basically, the media just jumped onto the fact that, an alien had its blue titties out, basically. And it got a bit of a bad rap, Mass Effect, until a lot of people played it, and eventually a couple of years later, it's a staple. But mature games, or games that kind of handle that aspect of life, don't really handle it very well. It's become a thing, especially for like I said, Bioware games or or whatnot. It's other companies do it all the time as well. But when you doing these games, it's pretty much considered that you walk up to the character that you like, you talk to them, you do a quest pretty much, and then you manage to get them in the sack. It's just not really a great prediction of that. More so that I really like the way that The Witcher 3 handled mature themes, and I don't think Witcher 3 gets praised enough for the way they did it, the way that they integrated both Yennefer and Trish into the story. But it made you care. That you just couldn't just jump in there and talk to them like you wanted to get into the sack with them. There were options there, but they were integral to the story. They had their own characters so much all the way through the game, their own personality and person. And then there was consequences as well. If you wanted to be with one, you had to drop the other. If you wanted to be, with both of them, there was consequences for that as well. And I think they handled that really, really well. And I hope it's a formula or a thing that obviously CG Projekt Red and most games improve upon. But it's really hard to just kind of do that, like I said, when it takes a lot of money to make these. There's not a great audience for them, and gore is another one. Like gore in horror games, widely accepted in horror games. But if you took the amount of gore, scenes, blood, the backgrounds, and stuff that are in many horror games like The Evil Within, Silent Hill, Resident Evil, translated that into, I don't know, like a open world shooter that you could do that, instantly this shit's going to hit the fan. There's going to be a lot of press and stuff like that there. But why is that? Why can movies, books get away with such a detailed information or graphic scenes, but when it gets translated into games, there's no boundaries for games. It gets criticized very, very, very much. And I can only see that in the long term as a negative effect on the industry. Because you've got to look at that now and think we're missing a whole genre of games that just aren't there. And I know that there are some pretty hefty games, and I know that there are some mature games, and people might be thinking now listening to this, I've played this. But can you look at me honestly, or when you're listening to this, and think, could have been more than it was? Could it have been more graphic? And the answer is yes. It could have been more mature. I mean, there's been a lot of games that have been held back by the limitations of it being as mature. Take Deus Ex for example. It's a really mature game and a cyberish, punkish kind of future. The gore's definitely been toned down for Deus Ex. The story, as mature as it is, doesn't reach its potential because it's toning it down to hit the age barrier of teens, basically. And it takes a lot away of what think the original Deus Ex was, and the mature themes. I know Deus Ex now is nothing compared to the old versions, but it seems to be that mature games are really, really graphic games, and these seem to come from indie developers, small developers that can get away with it, which maybe there's a niche market and they're not looking maybe to sell that many games, and that's their selling point, but that they are this much mature. But the thing I think with small studios or single people doing these games is they're not made very well. They're not received very, very well. They're not what they could be. And I often think that when I'm playing a game, sometimes I think, if it wasn't for the limitations of maybe this age restriction or the audience that maybe they're aiming for to the developers, the publishers, which is fair enough, that some games could go on to be even better quality, even better in depth, story, the mature themes, being able to like I said, start maybe relationships with other characters, kill characters, the blood and the gore, maybe the mature themes with drugs. There's a lot there. Relationships, family, the abuse of family. There's so much content that you could put in games that I think is a missed opportunity. Anyway, guys, as always, please leave me a like, subscribe for, like I said, more retrospectives like this, more debates. I'd really like to know if you guys are into this kind of stuff. I'm just trying something new, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, guys, that's all for now. I'll see you guys next time. Kakarot out. Bye.